Welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nolly, and I am a comic hero. Coming to you from Southern Realms Comics and Games here in Ruskin, Louisiana. And today is the first annual blood drive. Live Share Blood Center was giving blood today. I just gave blood. If you don't believe me, check that out. And, you know what, this is actually my first time giving blood, and I have to say, I am very, very, very humbled by doing this. And, because, you know, I'm saving a life. I mean, there are folks that need blood transfusions. There are hospitals that need blood because suppose someone might have had a car accident or heaven forbid, they might have been shot. The hospitals need blood so they can replace that with the blood that they already lost. So, there you go. And one thing's for sure, after doing that, I'm definitely doing that again. I'll do it again many times over. All right, it's time to give away a free t-shirt. All right, last week's episode, I asked, which borough of New York is Luke Cage from? Now, I gave a hint on social media. The hint was the Apollo Theater is located in this borough. Well, the correct answer is Harlem. And 8 people have answered correctly, and because they've answered correctly, their names have been entered in a drawing for a free tee. And that drawing takes place right now. So, the winner of the free tee for this week's episode of the show is Keith Adams from West Monroe, Louisiana. So congratulations, Keith. Win yourself a free Comic Hero tee. All right, here's the question for next week's episode, and this is a Marvel movie question. It's a very easy one, especially if you've been watching Marvel movies since the very beginning. What year did the first X-Men movie premiere? Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tee in next week's episode of the show. Now, Kenny Baldridge from Warren, Ohio has requested a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight, and this one features 2 men who have the powers of 2 insects, and they're both Marvel. Representing Marvel, we have Spider-Man, and also representing Marvel, we have Ant-Man. These two are going to duke it out in a segment I like to call the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Welcome to the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Today, it's Spider-Man versus Ant-Man. Spider-Man possesses genius-level intellect, is a proficient scientist and inventor, superhuman strength, speed, durability, and agility, the ability to cling to most surfaces, and utilizes wrist web shooters to shoot spiderweb material. Ant-Man possesses telepathic insect communication, a helmet with a retractable plexiglass face shield, and a limited air supply, the ability to maintain normal size and strength in shrunken state, pin particle shields that allow him to will himself and other objects to reduce in size or enlarge, is a master thief, and the ability to shrink to microscopic size and enter the subatomic universes. Who will win? This fight would start out back and forth. Spider-Man would attempt to strike first by delivering a web-swinging savant kick to Ant-Man, but the latter grows in size before Spidey makes contact. Ant-Man then swats Spidey away like a gnat. Ant-Man then returns to his normal size. Just as he does, Spider-Man attempts to web him up, but Ant-Man shrinks to a subatomic size. Suddenly, Spider-Man's spider sense goes off, and he's not sure why. Only seconds later, Ant-Man picks up Spidey from his foot and throws him 10 feet. Ant-Man then returns to regular size. Spidey attempts to use the web shooters, but realizes his web shooters are gone. That's only because Ant-Man stole them while he was at a subatomic size. That wasn't the only thing he did. He also invited some friends, or ants, inside Spidey's costume. Ant-Man, to add more insult or injury, then shrinks down to a small size and knocks old Webhead out cold. Ant-Man wins. That concludes this fight on the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that fight. If you have fight requests for future episodes, contact info is down there. All right, then it's time for Comically Speaking. So without further ado, let's talk comics. All right, I'm only going to talk about one thing in this segment of Comically Speaking, and that is the unfortunate news if you're a comic book reader and have been a big fan of DC. Jeff Johns, after many years of being a comic book writer and later becoming the chief creative officer of DC Entertainment, has announced that he is leaving DC Entertainment so he can pursue a career in writing and producing films. Jeff Johns was one of my, he's one of my all-time favorite comics writers. Whether it was his run on The Flash, his his run on Green Lantern, even his run on Superman and then Justice League. And then at one point, he even went over to Marvel to write the Avengers. And when I found out he was becoming the chief creative officer of DC Entertainment, I thought, oh boy, DC's coming back. But to hear this, and by the way, he also developed the Flash TV series, which after 4 seasons is still great. I can't wait for season 5 to come out. But I hear this, I'm happy because I'm glad that he's doing something that he really wants to do, but I'm sad because he's just not going to be the chief creative officer of DC Entertainment. But it is rumored that Jim Lee will take those duties on. And Jim Lee is, I tell you, he's one of my favorite comics artists. I mean, whether it was his run on X-Men, or when he created Wildcats, or what he did with Batman, Superman, and then with Justice League, I think he's going to do well. And I really hope that I expect good things out of him. And also expect good things out of Jeff Johns in his writing and producing career in film. So, there you go. All right, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now then, let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
All right, first up are 2 issues of the same book. In that book, these books are Incredible Hulk number 716 and Incredible Hulk number 717. Now, this is the last 2 issues of this book, and in the story arc entitled World War Hulk 2, where Amadeus Cho ends up on a distant planet and he's fighting for his life. Now, right after this book ends, by the way, there's going to be a new book called Immortal Hulk, and this one is going to star the Bruce Banner Hulk. All right, next up is Thor number 1. Now, this is the new Thor book. The way the Mighty Thor ended, the Jane Foster Thor, destroyed Mangog by hurling the Mjolnir right towards the sun and destroying it, and unleashing the cosmic storm within the Mjolnir and killing Mangog in the process. But she also dies, and then she ends up going to she's at the gates of Valhalla, and she's about to enter the gates, and Odin is about to welcome her, usher her in. But then, meanwhile, back on what was left of Asgard, Odin's son decides that I will not allow her to die. She has to live. And he brings the cosmic storm back. And then, and it strikes Jane Foster's dead carcass, and she comes back to life. And in this one, Odin's son becomes Thor once again, and is wielding a new version of Mjolnir. All right, next up is the Man of Steel number 3. Now, this miniseries, oh my goodness, is so great. Now, Rogol Zaar is the alien, and he wants to destroy Krypton because Krypton, he felt like Krypton really didn't serve any sole purpose in the universe. So he sets out to destroy it. But meanwhile, it talks about him wanting to destroy it from prior years before Krypton's destruction. But then meanwhile, we go to the present day, and Superman's being very tight-lipped about what happened to Lois and John. Not just to the folks at the Daily Planet, but to even members of the League. And this is a continuation of that. All right, next up is X-Men Blue number 29. Now, meanwhile, the 5 original X-Men are missing. And they've been missing since the crossover with Venom called Poison X. in which they go symbiote hunting throughout the galaxy. But meanwhile, back on Earth, a brand new team of X-Men is formed under the leadership of Lorna Dane, aka Polaris, and then they end up going up against Havoc, and then Emma Frost and several other folks when they decided to create the when Havoc decided he wanted to use this thing called Mother Vine to genetically create mutants. Well, they stopped them, and then they also make Havoc snap out of it, because Havoc has been out of it since X-Men and Avengers Axis. And now he's back to his old self, and get this, the scar that he got at the beginning of X-Men, Avengers and X-Men Axis is gone. Oh, that and the 5 original return. Alright, next up is Exiles number 4. Now this is a book starring Blink, and she's and the universe is rattling around her, at least that's what the Unseen, aka, or the character formerly known as Nick Fury, tells her. And so she goes and she recruits new characters. She recruits an older version of Kamala Khan, who just goes by the name Khan, and then a cartoon version of Wolverine called Wolvie, Iron Lad, who's Nate Richards, who was previously a member of the Young Avengers, and then Valkyrie from Avengers Ragnarok, and then recently they ended up getting the female versions of both Captain America and Bucky, and now Bucky's actually Becky, and then the female version of Captain America, Peggy Carter.
Kind of speed it up a little bit now.
All right, next up is Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 46. Now, they have been going up against the brand new Dark Stars, and they've actually struck they suffered a blow when one of their very own, who was imprisoned in a science cell, decides to become one of them, and this is a continuation of that. All right, next up is Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 1. Now, this one stars The Thing and the infamous Iron Man, aka Victor Von Doom. Now, right now, they're still in the middle of finding the original, finding Reed, Sue, and all the other members of the Future Foundation. And this is pretty much an interlude of the Marvel 2-in-1 series that's going on right now. All right, next up is Detective Comics number 982. Now this is now the previous story arc, Batman Eternal, just ended, and it was great. After Batwoman had murdered Clayface, just when he was losing control of himself, Batman had decided to have a meeting with all the other members of the Bat family as to what to do with it. And Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl, pretty much knock some sense into him and say, hey, she's your family. You can't just kick her out. And then a lot of things happen. Robin ends up dealing with stuff, and then all of a sudden this kid named Ulysses, who decided to call himself the General, had decided, okay, I'm going to unleash Brother Owl on all of Gotham City and the world. How about that? Well, they stop him in his tracks, and now the Bat family Team Batman is no more, and I think this is going to be strictly a Batman book from now on. Although they decide to depart in good terms. There was no bad blood between them, and Batman even made peace with Batwoman despite the fact she killed Clayface. All right, next up is Wonder Woman number 48. Now this is a part of a story arc called The Dark Gods, where these monoliths show up on Earth and cause everyone to stop believing in anything they worship in and only them. And one of the monoliths ended up teleporting Wonder Woman to the planet of the Star Sapphires, and she helps them destroy one of the monoliths, and then she returns. And in this one, This one covers Jason, who happens to be Wonder Woman's twin brother, and his battle with the Monoliths. And then finally, Flash number 48. Now this is part 2 of a story arc entitled Flash War, where Zoom, aka Hunter Zolomon, decides to separate, cause tension between Wally West and Barry Allen. And it's bad enough that Wally West is starting to have these memories of his life in the pre-Flashpoint DC universe, and it's all coming to a head. And at the very end, Zoom even offers to help Wally West and tell him, okay, let's save your kids. All right, that's 11, which brings the total number of comics that I've bought since December of 1997, 8,719. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Here's a question again for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. What year did the first X-Men movie premiere? Everyone who answers correctly will be in the drawing for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. And congratulations to Keith Adams from West Monroe, Louisiana, who won a free tee in this week's episode. All right, look, if you go anywhere and you happen to see Life Share Blood Centers, if you like go to Walmart or somewhere like that and you happen to see their van or their bus, donate blood. I guarantee you'll be saving many lives. I mean, I'm just gonna that's just all I have to say, because it's almost just like giving blood whenever you have to do lab, almost. And also in the coming episodes, episode number 719, number 219, it's just going to be, there's not going to be anything. I'm just going to wear one of my default comic hero tees. But episode 220, that's going to be the episode I do celebrating the 4th. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm going to be wearing a Captain America comic hero tee. Yeah, I'm going to be paying tribute to the 4th and also paying tribute to that Star-Spangled Man with a Plan. All right, I'm Victor Nunley. I'm the comic hero. Oh, by the way, I want to thank everyone who voted on social media. We had a episode 2-18 tee tournament, and this is the tee that won. This is a Black Panther inspired comic hero tee. If y'all look closely, y'all see the claws and in the CH. That represents the essence of the character. And then those motherboards represent Wakanda being the most technology-based country in comics. And then to go along with it, this Black Panther hat that I bought from Walmart. I'm not ashamed to say where I buy my hats. A hat is a hat. Period. Well, anyway, I'm Victor Nunley. I'm the comic hero. I'll see you next week for episode 219. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero, and Wakanda forever.
I'm going to throw it at your panda.
fine. All right, there's only going to be one thing I'm going to talk about in this segment of comic.